How are you, grade 4? I hope you are all fine. Today we are going to have a grammar lesson, and it's about modal verbs. You will find it in your grammar booklet, page 38. The modal verbs are not something new for you. We already use them in our writings and in our conversation, but today we are only going to stress more on them. So let's see, what are modal verbs? Modal verbs are verbs such as can, could, shall, should, will, or would. That is actually used with another verb to express ideas such as possibility, necessity, and permission. So let's explain more. We use modals to show if we believe something is certain, it means that I'm sure about it, possible, or impossible. Number 1, my keys must be in the car. So here the word must is the modal verb, and it shows here that I'm certain or sure that the keys are inside the car. Number 2, it might rain tomorrow. Here I use the modal verb might to show that I'm not sure about something. It's something that might happen. I'm not sure that it will rain. So it shows possibility. Number 3, that can't be Peter's coat. It's too small. Here the word can't show that it's something impossible. I am sure it's not Peter's coat. And what is my evidence here? It's that it's too small for him. Here, let's see what are the differences between modals and normal verbs. Number 1, they don't use an S for the third person singular. I can't add S or ing or ed to the modal verbs. So whatever the subject that you have, I'm going to write can as it is. It will be written without adding anything to it. I will say she can play, they can play, I can play. I'm not going to change or add anything to the modal verb. Number 2, they make questions by inversion. So if the normal sentence is she can go, if I want to make a question, I will start with the modal verb. So it will be can she go? I will start again with the modal verb. Number 3, they are followed directly by the infinitive of a main verb without to. What is the infinitive? The infinitive is the base form of the verb. It's the verb without adding s, ing, or ed, or anything to it. So again, after the modal verb, we use the base form of the verb or the infinitive form of the verb. But we are not going to add to. We cannot add to after the modal verb. I cannot say they may to play. I will say they may play. Don't add to after the modal verbs. Let's stress on may and might. May and might are modal verbs. Modal verbs are auxiliary verbs. We use modals to add meaning to a main verb. So what is the importance of the modal verbs? It's to add meaning to the sentence. Number 2, like all modals, may and might come before the base form of the verb. And this is what we already said, that it's followed by the base form or the infinitive form of the verb. They also have the same form with all the subjects. Again, whatever the subject that we have, we are going to use the base form of the verb and the modal verb as it is without adding anything to it. Number 3, may and might often have the same meaning. We use both for present and future possibility. So may and might have the same meaning. Number 4, don't use contractions with may or might. You cannot say mayn't or mightn't. If you want to make a negative statement of it, you are going to say, we may not go. We might not go. You cannot say mayn't or mightn't. Here, this is the affirmative statements and the negative statements. As for the affirmative statement, you are going to write the subject, then may or might, then the base form of the verb. So it's going to be, I may finish today. If you want to have the negative form of the negative statement of it, you are going to write the subject, may or might, then you are going to add not after the modal verb, then the base form of the verb. So you will say, I may not finish today. Here we have some errors in these sentences and we are going to correct them. The first one, she mayn't arrive on time. Where's the mistake here? Of course, it's mayn't because we said that we didn't use the contraction form of may or might. So we can say only may not or might not. I cannot say mayn't or mightn't. Number 2, we might leave at noon. Where's the mistake here? Of course, it's to because we said that we don't add to after modal verbs. So it will be, we might leave at noon. And number 3, Dan may sees her today. Where's the mistake here? It's the S in the verb see. Why? Because we said after the modal verbs, we use the base form or the infinitive form of the verb. So we don't add anything to the verb. So it will be, Dan may see her today. The present and future possibility. Use may and might to talk about present or future possibility. So here, if we are talking about the present possibility, it will be, where's Greg? I don't know. He may be in the library. Here I'm guessing something, which we are talking in the present time, but I'm guessing something. I'm not sure about it, so I say may be in the library. Number 2, who is that man? He might be Dana's father. So here, I'm not sure about who it is, so I used might be because I'm not sure. If I want to talk about future possibility, it feels cold. It may snow tonight. So here I'm guessing that something might or may happen in the future because I have an evidence. Where is my evidence here? It feels cold. Why? Because I'm guessing it feels cold, so I'm guessing that it may snow tonight. Number 2, Tom didn't arrive on the 10 o'clock bus. So here again, it's a future possibility that he may come. So I used the modal verb may. Use may or might when something is possible but not certain. If you are certain about the present, use the simple present or the present continuous. If you are certain about the future, use will or going to. So again, if you are certain about the present, we use the simple present or the present continuous. If you are sure about something, about the future, you'll use will or going to. Let's see. Possible but not certain. Where is Emily? I don't know. She might be upstairs. I don't know here. Here I'm not sure where she is, so I'm going to use might be. Number 2, we need to be in class by 9. The bus might not be on time. It's often late. So here I have an evidence that it's often late, so I'm guessing that it might not be on time. If I'm certain, if I'm sure about something, where is Robin? She's in the kitchen. I just saw her. Here I have a strong evidence that I just saw her, so I'm sure about my answer. So she is in the kitchen. So here I use the present tense because I'm sure, I'm certain. Number 2, we need to be in the city by 8. The train will be on time. It's never late. Here again we'll have an evidence. It's never late, so I'm sure that it will be on time. This is why I use the modal verb will. Here we are going to complete each conversation. Number 1, I might go to the party. So the answer would be, where are you going? Why won't you go? Or I may go too. So of course, if I'm responding to this, I'm not going to ask another question. So this is why I used I may go to. Number 2, where is she going to stay? She's not sure. This sentence is the key to the answer. She's not sure. So I'm going to choose a modal verb that shows that she is not sure. So of course I'm going to say she might stay in a hotel because she is not sure. Number 3, speaker A said something, then speaker B said, yes, it is. It may snow. So here I have an evidence that it may snow. So we are going to say it's really cold outside tonight because we have an evidence that it may snow. And you are going to complete the rest of the exercise. Form affirmative and negative statements with may or might. Use the words and phrase. Punctuate your sentences correctly. So here, if we want to arrange a sentence, we will start with the subject. Where is the subject here? It's the teacher. Then we put the modal verb, which is may, and then the base form of the verb, which is give. So it will be, the teacher may give us an exam next week. Number 2, again, we start with the subject or the pronoun, which is we. Then the modal verb, which is may. Then go, which is the base form of the verb. Then the rest of the sentence. So it will be, we may go to Taiwan next month. Number 3, again, start with the subject, which is Claudia. Then the modal verb, which is might. Then the base form of the verb, which is be. So it will be, Claudia might be in a meeting. Can is another modal verb. It shows the ability to do something. So again, like all the other modal verbs, we are going to start with the subject, then can, to show that you can do something or you have the ability to do something, then the base form of the verb, which is drive, then the rest of the sentence. If you want to make a negative statement, you are going to, again, to use the subject, then can't or cannot. And I want you to realize here that the word cannot is one word. We don't leave a space between can and not. It's one word, cannot. Then the base form of the verb, which is drive, then the rest of the sentence. If I want to make yes or no questions, I will make the switch again. We are going to start with the modal verb, which is can, then the subject, you, she, they, any subject, then the base form of the verb. So it will be, can you dance? Can she dance? Can they dance? The short answers for this question would be, if it's yes, so you say, yes, I can, yes, she can, or yes, they can. If it's no, it's going to be, no, I can't, no, she can't, or no, they can't. Could is for past ability. Again, could is like any other modal verbs, so we will start with the subject first, then the modal verb could, then the base form of the verb. If you want to make negative statements, I will start with the subject, then couldn't or could not, and here we put a space between could not and the base form of the verb, which is swim. If you want to make a yes or no question, we will start again with the modal verb, so it would be could, then the subject, then the base form of the verb. So it would be, could you swim? Could she swim? Could they swim? The short answer for this question is, yes, she could, yes, I could, or yes, they could. If you want to say no, you are going to say, no, I couldn't, no, she couldn't, no, they couldn't. Information questions about future possibility are also usually asked with the future forms. You can answer with may, might, or could. So let's hear here. Where are you leaving? I'm asking about a future, something that you're going to happen or are going to do. I'm not sure. I may leave next week. So here, because I'm not sure, I used the modal verb, which is may. When is he going to call? He might call today. So here again, I'm not sure, so I used the modal verb might. Form sentences with can or can't. Use the word and phrases. Punctuate your sentences correctly. Number 1, again, we are going to start with the subject, which is David, the modal verb can, and the base form of the verb, which is drive. So it will be that David can drive his father's car. Number 2, again, we start with the subject, Teresa, then the modal verb can't, then the base form of the verb, which is speak. So it will be Teresa can't speak Spanish. Number 3, we will start with the subject again, which is Irina, then the modal verb, which is cannot, then the base form of the verb, which is swim, then the rest of the sentence. So it will be Irina cannot swim very well. I hope this video will help you, and thank you for your watching.